Welcome to my series, where I try to tell Skyrim like it was written in a book, or told in the TV series, with not just one main character who is all of a sudden the Dragonborn, but many different characters, most of which, well, all of which, but one, are not the Dragonborn. This story will be played by many different characters of all different sorts of backstories, and all different combat roles and personalities. I hope you come to enjoy watching this sort of stuff as much as I enjoy making it and playing it. If you guys enjoy, please leave a like, and subscribe if you want. And of course, if you're feeling a bit chatty, drop me a comment and it'll be fun to have a conversation. Anyway, I'm gonna let you get to this. Have fun.
Part 1. The Dragon. My name is Marillia Tullius, the niece of General Tullius. And I am the last of the Tullius line. Why? Well, during the Great War, the Imperial city was taken over by the Altmer Dominion. Their leader, a Thalmor by the name of Lord Narafin. He ordered his troops to gather all of the Imperial command's families and execute them. My family was among them. My father stayed behind before the Altmer took the Imperial city. He stayed behind to let the Emperor escape to Skyrim. My father's name was Sergelius. I was only a newborn hidden away by a servant, but the rest of my siblings were murdered by the Thalmor, along with what remained of General Tullius's family. When the Emperor retook the city, my uncle Servius Tullius took me as his own and would raise me. When he was ordered to Skyrim, I went with. I've been in Skyrim since I was 5 years old, trained by the best of the Legion since I could swing a sword, and been fighting rebels since I was 17. I'm now 28. But now, ever since Ulfric killed the High King, I feel this civil unrest is going to erupt into a full-on civil war in Skyrim. Ulfric, after years of causing civil unrest across Skyrim, finally decided to sit down in talks of peace with the High King. But when he arrived, he killed the High King and fled. And now a war is going to burn all across Skyrim because one guard unlocked a gate for the wrong man. Doesn't matter what he believed to be right or honorable. His actions alone will see the death of thousands of Nords and Imperials alike. This is to remind all that those who serve the rebellion, that death will soon follow. As sad as it was needed. I knew Rogvir since I had spent much of my life in solitude. He was a good man, but even good men can make mistakes. And even those good men must pay for them. That Imperial soldier, there's something about him. Some feeling that I can't quite place. I was given orders to see Legate Ricca for a mission, and so that's where I went.
I'm telling you, Ulfric's planning an attack on Whiterun.
He'd be insane to try. He doesn't have the men.
That's not what my scouts report, sir. Every day more join his cause. Riften, Dawnstar, and Winterhold support him.
It's not a cause. It's a rebellion.
Call it whatever you like, General. The man's going to try to take Whiterun.
Jarl Balgruuf.
Balgruuf refuses the Legion's
Was quite typical for the General and Legate to argue.
On the other hand,
But I respected Ricca. She fought for the Empire, because she knew both Skyrim and Cyrodiil needed each other. She was a true Nord.
I'm sending you to clear out Fort Hrogstad. Fort Hrogstad is one of the few that remains mostly intact. We're going to install a garrison there, but first, you're going to clean out the bandits that have moved in. Good, that's what I want to hear. Now go make it happen, soldier.
So I was given my orders and a battalion of Legion troops and sent to clear Fort Hrogstad. Bandits were no match for the Legion. We were setting up for war. Fort Hrogstad would guard Hoffingar from any sort of rebel army if it even gets that far. I wasn't one to wait around. A direct fight was my preferred method. Bandits didn't really have the skill range to hold us back anyway. So I thought. It turns out that these ones did. They had perfect fortification and some really good fighters. Some were even once legionaries. They fought hard for their position, cutting down my men, but only 2 of us remained. Only one other legionary was standing. He fought hard. He charged the enemy with no fear. Something about him was familiar. It was him, The Imperial soldier at the execution. That one that gave me the odd feeling.
No way to kill another of Ulfric's boys.
He was quite skilled. Knew how to fight. I was quite impressed. You don't find soldiers like that amongst the standard Imperial troop. He was quick and vicious. Fought with no fear but focus. I can say that I felt safe. That I felt like I was fighting with an equal. That's saying something. Seeing as how I was trained by the best gold could buy. We still had a job to do. Clear out the fort of bandit scum, so we could add an Imperial garrison. I believe the two of us could do this. And that we did. Before I left to report our success, I asked for his name. He had told me. His name was Senturos Gavianis, a name I'm sure not to forget. I would report in and tell the legate all about what had happened, and about Senturos.
The fort right away. You did well. I'm impressed.
Part 2. The Bear. After years of unrest between the East and West, Ulfric agreed to sit with the High King in talks of peace. But his real goal was to show Skyrim of its weakness, that Skyrim had become soft and weak because of the Empire. Ulfric had gone to challenge the High King, to prove Skyrim's High King to be an Imperial puppet. Torrig accepted the challenge, for he could not refuse or be seen as a coward. The little king stood no chance. The High King of Skyrim is meant to be strong, not some boy made king from an emperor not from Skyrim. Torrig wielded Jolhurt, a sword wielded by High Kings of Skyrim since the First Era. It would soon find itself in the hands of a new High King, the true High King. War was now inevitable. Ulfric had let the Empire know his true intentions, an independent Skyrim. Now we set our plans for Whiterun, since it had refused to pick a side, but its Jarl was more on the Empire's side of the fence, and if we were going to take it, we needed a trusted ally to control the Whiterun hold for the rebellion. And fate threw us a helping hand. An old friend I had not seen in many years had sent me a letter to help her find her son. She had married into the Greymane family, and they were quite loud about supporting the rebel cause in Skyrim. So I traveled to Whiterun to help an old friend and gain a powerful ally for the rebellion. I wonder if she would recognize me after so many years. It turns out she did. We were once battle sisters after all.
I just know it. I can feel it in my heart. You have to believe me. Please visit me at my home. I can tell you the whole story.
A few seconds.
Welcome to our home.
Mother, what's the meaning of this? Who have you brought into our home?
Adelstein, put that down. She's here to help us find Thorold.
How do we know she's not spying for the Battleborn? This was foolish. We can't trust anyone. Who knows what they'll do if they find me here.
I can't take any more of this. No weapons, please. Let's just talk.
All right, Mother. So, you're here to help? I know that Thorold's not dead. I just know it. The Imperials have him and are keeping him somewhere, but I don't know where. Those damned Battleborns, they know something. They're hiding it. They practically taunt us with it. They must have some sort of proof. There's gotta be something in that house of theirs. I just know it. I don't dare leave the house myself, so I need your help. Anything that confirms that Thorold isn't dead, but is being held captive. I know those Battleborns have it. They'd be hiding it, of course. Wouldn't want it to get out that they've been lying this whole time. But you might be able to butter them up enough to lower their guard.
It's hardly a secret that they have ties to the Empire and hate anyone who speaks out against it. Thorold did worse. He took action against the Empire, and the Battleborns knew it. He's my son. I feel it.
So I would spend the night and visit this Battleborn home tomorrow, when nobody was there, to see if they were hiding something. Nobody is going to think an old lady is any threat. I was nearing 70, so getting around was starting to take its toll on me. I was more reserved for strategy these days. But this is something I had to do. But I lived the warrior's life, and I hoped I would die a warrior's death, not waiting to die in my bed surrounded by sad faces. So any chance I could get, I would do things myself rather than send others. It was time to find out what these Imperial bootlickers are hiding. They had received a message from the Imperial General himself, saying Thorold Greymane was imprisoned by the Thalmor. This was the worst outcome for any true Nord. Those elves were monsters.
Do you have news? Did you find something? I knew it. Let me see, please. The Thalmor. By the 9, it's worse than I thought. So, Northwatch Keep. Then we know where to hit him. I'll do anything if it means saving my brother. You'll join us, won't you? Thorold can't be left to those monsters. I'll round up what men I can and meet you outside Northwatch Keep. We'll get in and out as fast as possible. I'll see you there.
I would lead this mission. I would take the Bear-Claw Raiders deep into enemy lines and free Thorold. I know how it feels to lose a child. It's the last thing I would ever want for Fralia. So I would journey back to Eastmarch, where the Bear-Claw Raiders have set up base, in a fort once controlled by bandits. It was called Mistwatch. It was a hidden fort that would watch the borders of Eastmarch and the Rift. My granddaughters led the raiders on the field of battle, but this time I would lead them. We would gain a friend in Whiterun. I would help out an old one, and we would teach the Thalmor a very lethal lesson. The girls decided to cage the bandit leader who once ransomed people off from here, as they call it poetic justice. If it was me, I would have just stuck my blade through her. But this is their operation. It was time to get ready, to lead them into battle like the old days, but not for gold, but for duty, for Skyrim and her people, because the Empire was a sickness weakening Skyrim, for allowing elves to take people from their homes to never be seen again. This is what the Bear-Claw Raiders were made for, getting into enemy lines. But this time, we would be going all the way to the back of Imperial lines, where the elves felt safe. Once we saw the haunted castle, we knew we were close. So many brave souls fight for Skyrim's freedom. Not all of them are even Nords, or were born here. But all have a reason to fight, like religion or hatred of the Empire, or the elves. Like Lavius, who's an Imperial. He was born and raised in Skyrim. His father, a Redguard, and mother, an Imperial, ran a small farm. From time to time, they would give food to rebels. Once the Empire found out, they killed them. He can remember hunting with his little sister and seeing black smoke coming from his home, to racing back to see Imperial soldiers throw the bodies of his parents into their burning home, just for feeding those who wanted freedom from a weak empire. And Vitellia, who was also an Imperial, but born and raised in Cyrodiil. She fought in the Great War against the elves. She was cornered by elves before Ulfric and his men saved her life. She would then follow the Northern legions, and when the Emperor surrendered, she too was angry. She agreed with the Nords. She would follow them north into Skyrim after the war, and would aid Ulfric in cleaning out the Reachmen in Markarth. When Ulfric was arrested in Markarth, she went to Riften with one of Ulfric's men she fell in love with. A year later, her Nord husband would be killed by Imperial troops during protest in the Rift. Within days of her husband dying, she gave birth to a little Imperial girl that was the image of her father. She too now fights alongside her mother to rid Skyrim of the Empire. Even Laskak fights with the rebels for her hatred of the Empire. When she was just a little girl, the High King Istlod, Toryg's father, had sent the Legion to remove her Orc tribe. Due to them living on an important ore mine the High King wanted. When her father, the chief, refused, Istlod sent the Legion back to wipe the Orc stronghold off the map. Laskak was the only survivor. She now fights to kill anybody wearing the Imperial colors, to avenge her people. To even a little wood elf by the name Rillie, who fled into Skyrim trying to lose her Thalmor pursuers, then to be cornered and seconds off death. Before the Bear-Claw Raiders showed up and slaughtered the elves, she swore to aid us for saving her life. and ever since then she has been one of us. To even old friends I used to command when I was a mercenary, her husband and daughter fight with my granddaughters to free our lands from the Empire. To even having a high elf fight with us. But she's just as a Nord as I am. Her father was a Nord. She came out a little shorter than most of her kind, and with a human skin tone. Her mother died when she was young, so she was raised a Nord. When the Great War against her kind started, she joined the Empire. Her father followed to protect her, but he was killed in the Great War, and when the Empire surrendered, she saw that as her father's life being wasted. She has had it rough in the rebellion being a high elf, but we know her to be true, for she might be a high elf, but her heart is truly of a Nord. And Angie, she was just a young girl when Imperial soldiers who were meant to protect her raped her and killed her family. She killed them and was marked a criminal. She fights for all Nordic daughters so they won't be raped by Imperial dogs. And many others fight for Skyrim. If it be for hatred of the Empire, or belief in Talos, or hatred of the elves, or just wanting Skyrim to control herself for once. Many true sons and daughters of Skyrim fight for her freedom. To have a high king of our choosing, the true high king, Ulfric Stormcloak.
We're getting Thorald back, no matter what. We kill every Thalmor between us and Thorald, and we bring him out alive. Let's go.
I would take lead. My grandmother is a great warrior, but she is much older than she was when she was doing this sort of thing. And she's the only family Brianna and I have left. I won't risk losing her. Tova raised us after our mother died, giving birth to us. She made sure we would be strong. She told us our father had died after the Great War, so she is all we have ever had. Since the time we could walk, she has trained us how to fight. And when Ulfric Stormcloak returned and wanted Skyrim to rule itself, we wanted to join that fight. She was able to get us a position in the rebel army, our own unit, that our grandmother commands. She works with Ulfric and they send us behind the lines to attack the Empire. It feels like they are giving us easy targets. Either Gran is trying to protect us, or they don't know what we can truly do. But we all approved of this mission, to attack those Thalmor dogs where they think they are safe. When we are done here, they will always remember the cost of stealing away Nords from their families. Our parents once fought them on the battlefields of Cyrodiil. We walk in our mother's footsteps fighting for Ulfric and killing any elves in front of us. We will one day free Skyrim from the Empire's grip. Skyrim will one day be strong again. Then we'll march on them damn elves through Cyrodiil if we have to. It's a damn wonder the Empire surrendered to these elves. Bandits have more skill than these pointy-eared bastards. For a people that considers themselves the higher race in Tauriel and can live for hundreds of years, they're an easy fight. We wouldn't spare a single elf. We would show them the same mercy they showed us. An ear for an ear. Well, a ear for a rather pointy ear. We slaughtered the elves and had found Thorald. We had gained a friend in Whiterun for when we take control of it, and we had helped an old friend of Gran's. And the bonus was sticking it to the Thalmor, letting them know that the North never forgets.
I cannot thank you enough for rescuing me from this place. I suspect I'd never again see the light of day otherwise. But why would you risk your life for me, a stranger? Of course, I should have known. Avelstein was behind this, wasn't he? I cannot stay. Not here. Not in Whiterun. It likely won't be safe for Avelstein either. Our best hope now is to fall in with the ranks of the Stormcloaks. But would you do me a favor? Tell my mother to suffer the winter's cold wind, for it bears aloft next summer's seeds. She'll know what it means. I thank you again, friend. You've given me my life back.
We would take the Greymanes under the Bear-Claw raiders. We would stay the night hoping to catch any returning Thalmor. But something weird happened. Something drew me to this keep on the mountain. I couldn't understand why, like all my will was focused there. Like I could not resist staring at it. And I had no clue to why. What was this weird feeling I got? It was like fate was pulling me in that direction.
Alrighty, so I'm really happy to get this one out there because this is a story that I was working on before my game died, before I deleted my modding folder, and I don't want this to go over more than 5 minutes. So, like I said, I'm very happy to get this one out there. I'm sorry for the humming in the background. This is the new computer or new mic. I don't know what the hell that's all about. Hopefully you'll be able to hear me. But yeah, like, man, I'm so happy to get this one out there because this is the one that I've been waiting to get out since my game died. And whew, hopefully people have enjoyed it. If you did, let me know, because Marillia Tullius, the first person you meet, she's a new character, and she's pretty much created because of General Tullius, because General Tullius is the most unknown character in all of Tauriel, because there's no history on him, there's no children, there's pretty much no first name. I had to Google search his name, like General Tullius, and that's the first thing it gave me, Servius, so I thought I'll go Servius Tullius. And then I created, Marillia as his niece and stuff like that, and create some story around them. And luckily, Marillia's new armor is actually due to the fact that I deleted my modding folder, and coming back to redo it all, I saw a mod that came out, and I kind of took that and I made that a new armor, edited it, of course. Execution, man, that was some cool shit, because when I was actually filming it, Rogovir's sister turned around. She turned to me when he got his head cut off. Like, she wasn't looking at it. That wasn't in the script or anything like that. That was just pure convenience or whatever. Like, holy crap, she just turned around and looked at me when he got his head cut off, and then turned back around once his head was already cut off. I was like, man, that's the sort of thing someone would do when they see a loved one get executed. They would look away and then look back, because they couldn't watch them getting killed. And then, of course, the mysterious figure, the Imperial soldier she was staring at, a good way to introduce my main character, the one that I created for my playthrough. Like, everyone has their own personal character, or their main of alternate characters. Now, I did focus a lot on the Stormcloaks side of things, a lot more than I did the Imperial side of things. Why is that? Well, it's because I actually play an Imperial, and they don't get much questing, the Stormcloaks, because the Civil War doesn't really offer many quests, but when they do, it's going to be based on the Imperial side. They don't get this, so I really wanted to beef them up with story and stuff like that. For when I do get into the Civil War, it's just more them attacking villages, killing scouting parties, messages, small little armies, maybe aiding the main Stormcloak army in attacking a town or a hold and stuff like that. It's not very questly orientated, more it's background stuff. This is what they'll be doing for the Civil War. And so the time that I had with these guys, I really wanted to get their story out there for this part of missing in action, because it really felt like a proper way to introduce Stormcloak characters and kind of give you the feel for who they are, because this is probably the only thing they'll get to do throughout the year of them fighting and killing and all that sort of stuff. And the Imperial characters, they got a lot less on this story because, well, the mysterious Imperial character gets his own chapter in the next run where he gets to talk about himself and that sort of stuff and who he is and what he's doing. But they got a lot less information done on them because, well, I'll be playing as them through quests, so there's a lot more time to open them up and talk about them and make you feel attached to them. Where the Stormcloaks, I don't. So I thought this entire episode pretty much be based on the bear side of things. If you like this, let me know and what your thoughts are, because it's good to be back, and whew, I'm glad to get this out there before Starfield drops, because it's a day off from me uploading this, or probably like 12 or 10 hours. Yeah, I don't know, what else I can really say. I was expecting this to go for like 5 minutes, but the shorter the better, I guess. Like I said, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, like and subscribe. There'll probably be more. There'll be a lot more Starfield videos coming, because again, Starfield's coming out. But when I eventually get back to playing Skyrim, I want to do some more stories, and especially finish it and continue into the Civil War and do miscellaneous stuff in the background, kind of characters wiggling around the world, so you get to see what they're doing while all this other shit, the main shit, the Skyrim Civil War is going on, before something special happens where the world must unite. Anyway, I'm going to get out of your hair. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, let me know. Catch us later. Have a good one. Peace out.